The universe in this anime is not similar to the Earth, which is filled with land and oceans. In this anime, the people live on the Sky Islands, where each Sky Island here has its own characteristics, such as an island filled with active volcanoes and an island filled with oceans, or even some are just a vast expanse of land. The anime begins with a female knight named Catalina taking away a girl named Lyria from an imperial ship that was flying in the air. Her actions were based on the fact that she could no longer bear to see Lyria being the subject of an experiment. The escape of Catalina and Lyria led to the pursuit of the two and was soon followed by an explosion that caused Lyria to fall off the ship. Meanwhile, in a peaceful village, a blonde-haired youth named Gran is chopping wood with his axe. In the middle of Gran doing his work, he accidentally saw a figure of Lyria who fell from the ship. Seeing this, he decided to approach the place where Lyria had fallen. Gran found Lyria lying on the grass and immediately helped her. He then offered to help Lyria if she needed it. The offer from Gran made Lyria happy. She then explains what happened to her, starting from being an experimental material on the Imperial ship to a person named Catalina helping her. Lyria then asks Gran to help her find Catalina. Unexpectedly, the whereabouts of Lyria and Gran was discovered by two Imperial troops. The two people started launching their attacks on them. Gran tried to fight the two men as much as possible. However, the two troops sent a signal for help because of their desperate position. Instead of getting help, the figure that came was Catalina. Catalina, who got the signal, immediately knew Lyria's location and turned to attack the two Imperial troops. Gran then received an explanation from Catalina regarding why Lyria was being chased by the Imperial troops. Based on Catalina's explanation, Lyria was a special girl to the Empire, and Catalina intended to take Lyria out. Gran, who had promised to help Lyria, intended to take them to the airship. Catalina initially refuses Gran's help, but Gran has decided to always help Lyria. On the way to the airship, Gran, Catalina, and Lyria were apparently blocked by a monster sent by the Empire to recapture Lyria. From his battle with the monsters, Gran was overwhelmed to the point where he was seriously injured. But Lyria is not an ordinary woman. She can apparently use her powers to save Gran and even resurrect him from the dead. In addition to rising from the dead, apparently, Gran got superpowers thanks to the rescue from Lyria. Lyria then summons a bigger monster that was originally present from an explosion and can frighten the army of monsters. The monster is named Bahamut and takes the form of a dragon. Due to the magnitude of Bahamut's strength, the monsters of the Imperial army were repelled. After helping Lyria, Bahamut was invited back to his world by Lyria. Currently, Gran, who was saved by Lyria, turns out to have the same power as her. Gran, who heard this, was of course surprised because he had always wanted to become the ruler of the sky, and with Lyria's power, he can make his dream come true. The scene then switches to a house where Gran just woke up from sleep. Lyria, who saw this, ran to hug him. Catalina then explained what really happened. From Catalina's description, Gran apparently discovered that he was dead and that Lyria had saved him. But apparently, Lyria's rescue left consequences for her and Gran. Since Lyria shared half her life with Gran, she shouldn't be too far apart from him now. If they were too far apart, then Gran would really die. Hearing this, Gran was shocked and realized he would be with Lyria forever. Gran, who knew this fact, didn't seem to make him flinch. He told Lyria and Catalina that he wanted to go to Astral Island, a place where they would probably know all about the astral. Catalina agrees with Gran's plan because she has a mission to find out the history of Lyria that even Lyria herself doesn't know. Gran, Lyria, and Catalina started their journey by boarding a medium-sized flying boat. But unfortunately, the trip did not last long because their plane experienced technical problems and caught fire. They landed right on an island called Egina. Apparently, Egina Island is a stopover for wind explorers to buy food supplies and sell valuable items obtained during the trip. They finally decided to rest for a while on Egina Island while gathering supplies for their trip. Catalina was about to order a ship to continue their journey the next day, but unfortunately, all the ships were already booked. Then someone offered to help fix their ship. But the man said that he must have a new helmsman. Moments later, two mysterious people offered to be the helmsman. For a moment, they believed the two people, but Gran was suspicious and felt they were an undercover squad to capture Lyria. The chase was unavoidable. Gran tried to fight the two people while asking Lyria to hide. Unexpectedly, there was a giant figure who helped Gran to fight the Imperial troops. The two people finally ran away. Gran, Lyria, and Catalina finally reunited. But this time, they were not just the three of them. There was a young man named Rackam who was now present among them. Rackam's presence begins with the appearance of Shiroro among them. Shiroro was the material shopkeeper in charge of giving them quests. According to Shiroro, Rackam is a well-known and reliable helmsman who has helped her. They finally decided that Rackam should be part of their travel group. Just as they were about to start their journey, they accidentally ran into another Imperial army. Even though the Imperial troops went on different missions, but after seeing Lyria, they couldn't stay still. They then launched attacks on Gran, Lyria, and Catalina. However, Rackam, who had been monitoring from afar, apparently carried out a sneak attack by shooting at the Imperial troops while signaling for Gran to enter the underground passage. Finally, they were all currently in the underground passage while making preparations. While hiding in the alley, they learned that the troops apparently intended to destroy Egina Island. Those who knew about this fact then returned to the city center to thwart the mission of the Imperial troops. At the same time, a strange phenomenon occurred. An extreme storm suddenly strikes Egina Island. Seeing this, Gran, Lyria, and Catalina helped the townspeople to evacuate before they continued their journey. But unfortunately, the last ship they had to travel on was destroyed by the Imperial army. At the same time, a fact was revealed that the sudden storm was caused by the wind god named Tiamat, who had been deliberately angered by the Imperial troops to destroy Egina Island. The only way to calm this storm is with Lyria, who can defeat Tiamat. Rackam then proposes to take them to the wind god's place using his ship. During the journey, it was not easy. Various attacks were launched by the wind god on their ship, but all of them could be easily overcome because Rackam was a reliable helmsman. Arriving near the god of wind, apparently, nothing unusual happened. The Imperial army seemed to have done something to the wind god, so she lost control and consciousness. Lyria's strength was not enough to fight Tiamat alone. She needed help from Gran and Bahamut to restore Tiamat's consciousness. Gran and Lyria managed to bring Tiamat back to consciousness. She then thanked Gran and Lyria and rewarded them with a piece of the celestial map inherited from the astral. Since the map is in the form of pieces, these objects must be put together to be able to pass through the Valley of Death between the Kingdom of Heaven and the others. In the evening, Gran and Rackam talk on the ship's deck. Gran states that he, Lyria, and Catalina will travel to the Astral Valley. Rackam was surprised to hear this because it was exactly the place he was going to, even though most people thought the Astral Valley was a legend. They continued their journey the next day. Then, they arrived in the Fire Kingdom to complete the mission to get pieces of the sky map. The conditions in the Fire Kingdom were quieter than in the previous city. Society seems closed by their presence. Apparently, it was because one of their nobles was missing, and their mission was to find the missing noble. This mission turns out to be more dangerous than they thought, but with determination, they begin by gathering information about this noble's whereabouts. In their search, they accidentally meet a girl who was attacked by goblins. After helping her, she then explains that she is a disciple of a lost noble. The student's name is Io. Io then took them to the dungeon because she could feel the magic of her teacher, and there she knew there were several Imperial troops. At first, they thought that the noble had been hurt by the Empire. But apparently, the Empire was the victim of the nobles for stealing research results. Then, after continuing the search, they suddenly found the noble they were looking for, but in the form of a mechanical monster. At that time, the nobleman behaved strangely and only cared about the results of his research. It turned out that the noble was also after Lyria's power. This time, Lyria, Gran, Catalina, Rakam and Io help each other to awaken the evil influence that exists within the nobility. The monster created by the nobleman was defeated, and in return, they get another piece of the sky map. Based on the clues from the snippet of the sky map, their next destination was Auguste Island. Io, who also saw this, decided to join their team. Finally, their team found a new member. Before they continued their journey, Shiraro suggested to them to rest for a while on the island while receiving a quest from Shiraro, which is called world travel. According to the clues Shiraro gave, they were currently in front of the shrine. But suddenly, the temple floor collapsed and took them to the underground world until they were all separated. Gran is now with Rakam and Io, while Catalina, Lyria, and Shiraro are together on the other side of the underground world. Gran's team suddenly encounters maze explorers named Mari and Carva. Again, they have to fight the labyrinth monsters to be able to enter the secret room. After they managed to get into the secret room, Gran managed to pull out one of the heirloom swords in the room. But apparently, the quest couldn't be declared successful by Shiraro, so their current reward was only a sword. They continued their journey to Auguste Island. Auguste is an island covered by a stretch of ocean. But by the time they arrived, Auguste was already polluted with sewage. There they also met Rakam's uncle named Eugene. Eugene then took them to the capital city of Auguste, which apparently was in trouble because of the increasingly aggressive sea monsters. While gathering supplies, Lyria was kidnapped by an unknown person. Lyria is now in the hands of the Imperial troops. It is revealed that the Imperial experiment has polluted the oceans and caused the sea monsters to be angry and turn to attack the citizens. But when a monster attack occurs, there is a figure named Rosetta who can save everyone. Lyria was rescued by Rosetta, but currently, she is in an unconscious state, and nothing can cure her. According to Rosetta, the only way to save Lyria is with Gran's help as someone who shares her life with her. They then went to an island called Lamasi. Rosetta then took them to the Tree Keeper. The Tree Keeper sent Gran's consciousness into Lyria's subconscious. When Gran managed to get into Lyria's subconscious, he realized that Lyria was in a depressed state. Lyria was blaming herself for what had happened. Gran tried to convince her not to blame herself. However, Lyria was afraid, and she didn't want to involve her comrades in this, and she decided to give all her life to Gran. But before Lyria destroys herself, Gran gives her the accessories that were previously destroyed due to Lyria's kidnapping. Seeing the accessories, Lyria's calmed down a bit. By now, Lyria was in a better sense, and Gran was once again trying to convince her that she was not wrong and that he would never leave her again. And it was Gran's persuasion that brought Lyria back to the world. But just as they were celebrating Lyria's consciousness, it turned out that the Imperial troops were already near them. The Imperial army attempted to destroy the entire forest. Meanwhile, the sea monster rampage had already ravaged Auguste Island. Here is the role of Lyria and her friends to save Auguste's people from the monster attacks. It turns out that they are not alone. There are also brave troops commanded by Eugene to help the Lyria team calm the anger of the sea monsters. But apparently, it was all not enough. Suddenly, a mysterious woman appeared who made a big attack against the sea monsters until it was overwhelmed by the attack. The sea monster's carelessness was used by Lyria and her friends to continuously attack it. After successfully defeating the sea monster, Lyria and Gran then targeted the attack on the evil crystal that had affected the sea monster. And based on their efforts, Auguste Island managed to find peace. Thank you for watching our content. We hope you like it and subscribe our channel. See you on the next video.